Well, good morning, everyone. We get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about the formula for funding. So specifically, we have applied for and received a grant to help step by step help any small business become fundable. I think if you went out to survey small businesses, that you would find most of them would tell you that they even need capital to start to grow to reach their potential. But what's the problem? Because there's banks on almost on every corner. Big cities, suburbs, small towns, banks, credit unions, online alternative lenders. So if we have all of these small businesses that want funding, and we have all of these lending institutions that want to lend money, what's the problem? Why aren't these two groups connecting? Well, the problem is that most small businesses are not fundable. Not that they don't want funding, but they don't qualify for funding. So I'm navigating here. Screen should be shared with you, chapmanloanprogram.org. We're going to do what we call an express training today. Normally we spend 30 minutes together. Today we're going to compress it to 15 minutes to give you a high-level overview. With that being said, certainly after the Zoom, I encourage you to go to chapmanloanprogram.org because that is where the resources are. So on chapmanloanprogram.org, you'll understand specifically what the formula for funding is. No smoke and mirrors, no BS, no confusion. We tell people exactly what it takes to become fundable, and we invite people to participate in the startup business funding package so we can help them. Furthermore, we work with distribution partners like many of you who are going out and helping small businesses. Obviously, our preferred approach is to educate, because if you educate entrepreneurs about what it means to have a fundable business and you let them know that the grant has made this package available, you're going to find that on average 85 to 87% of the people that you educate will participate. So, quick overview today. chapmanloanprogram.org. Here we're going bullet by bullet to express specifically A, what we do, and B, what it takes to have a fundable business. So I encourage you to get familiar with this. Now, we're very transparent. So not only do we list it here, you can come down to the two-step process and you can click here and see a written proposal. And if that's not enough, you can come down here and read the press release or watch the press release training video to see, again, at a deeper level, what we do. Let's say that's still not enough. You still need more information. Fine. Again, chapmanloanprogram.org, scroll down, and we have a full presentation, which we call the 10 mistake presentation. This explains to the audience why most small business owners will not get funded and how to overcome that and how we help them overcome that. If you're one of our distribution partners, this is exactly what you want to be familiar with, because this is probably what you're teaching, whether it be individuals or groups, whether it be in person or online. This is the key educational message. It's not a sales pitch at all. It's training people. What does it take to have a fundable business? I ask you, I plead with you for a moment, step back. You have knowledge, you have expertise, you have education that most people don't have. Most people don't know what you know, which is how literally anyone can have a fundable business and go get over $250,000. You know how straightforward and simple that is. Most don't take it for granted. Most people don't know that. So that's what we can do together, is to help others, and you get paid to do that. And that's the bottom link here, which is we call the Opportunity Fund. In other words, you become a distribution partner. So I want to answer any questions you have. We're having what we call an express training today just because of a tight, we're at the end of the month and it's incredibly busy, which is a fortunate blessing to have. But chapmanloanprogram.org is the resource site. It is where you'll go if you want to participate. If you want to have a fundable business, You can learn about it here. And if you want our help, you can enroll here. You might say, well, how does that happen? It's a two-step process. Step one, they want you to review the proposal and watch this training video. Now, it's on an honor system, so if you skip that step, truthfully, no one will know, but that's what we ask you to do. And then secondly, you can enroll, and I'll click on it. There's no surprises. It's simple. It'll pop up a new page, and you'll just initial off, and you'll plug in. It's simple. And then we'll have someone that's going to work with you, myself or one of our other advisors, and we'll literally go through this process. People often ask, how long does this process take? If we're building a business from the ground up, which is often what we're doing, you're looking at a 30 to 60-day process. For people that are enrolling today, November 30th, our goal is to try to get everyone funded before the end of December, before the end of 2023. But today's really the last day that we can even come close to committing that, because we're running tight already on time. So if you're a prospective participant, there's no better day than today to enroll. How do you do it? Either get back with whomever had introduced you, or go to chapmanloanprogram.org, complete these two steps, and we'll do everything we can to get you your funding before the end of the year. Normally, though, it is a 30 to 60-day process to complete all of this. All right, I see that Harlan has a question. So Harlan's asking, well, what if he has some of this already? Well, that's fine. So we used to be very rigid and said, no, you got to enroll, and the grant wants you to do all these steps, but they've relaxed. So as we get older, I guess a lot of us get a little easier to get along with, right? So now if you have some of these elements, that's fine. Then you can opt out. Let's say that you already have your entity. Oh, fine. Or you already have your EIN. That only accelerates the process. It doesn't change the enrollment, though. It's still the same two steps, step one, step two. But the point is, this is what we need to do. And you can see free. So these are the steps that we need to go through. But if you have some of the steps completed, great. It just accelerates the process. I was talking to a young lady this morning as I was driving into the office, and she said that she already has all of this. I'm like, great, you're a fundable business. Then scroll down and go right here, and we can go right to funding. So it's okay if you don't qualify for the grant. You may be overqualified for the grant with your business if you already have everything in place. And again, the best way to learn that is through the full 10-mistake training video. Then don't enroll in the grant. Why would you? You don't need it. That would slow you down. Instead, let's just go to funding. But the truth is, there's very few small businesses that are ready for funding. So that's why we got the grant, why we do what we do. Queen is asking about the funding options. So once we have gone through this process and created a fundable business, Queen, we can go all kinds of different places, a million different places to get funding. One of our favorite is the Chapman Fund, and I think that's what Queen's getting to. The Chapman Fund is awesome because we don't have to go apply through a bank. We don't have to meet the rigorous underwriting of a bank. Instead, the Chapman Fund is through a taxing authority. So that's awesome. But is it all chocolates and roses? No. The most you can get from the Chapman Fund is $250,000. And that makes some people very upset. I think a couple of you on the Zoom right now have either cursed at me or hung up on me when you found out all you could get was $250,000 through the Chapman Fund. But we're trying to make it crystal clear. Now, we can go after other funding sources after the Chapman Fund or in lieu of the Chapman Fund, but I can't help the fact that they have a cap per business. And I forget who it was. I think it was Jimmy, but I don't remember. Said, well, he's going to enroll 2 businesses, and then that way he can enroll each, and then that multiplies it to 500,000. So that's right. So we could either run multiple businesses through or just use this as one source of funding. All right, and I see Mrs. Ward's asking, and Mrs. Ward, I tried to call you this morning to return your call, got your voicemail, missed you, and I will be tied up this morning, but available this afternoon, Miss Ward. So that gets to the point. If any of you are current distribution partners, our service model is we should have at least weekly scheduled calls. So those of you that are current distribution partners, please be sure to use Calendly to schedule at least weekly calls, maybe more often. If you're not a distribution partner, please come to chapmanloanprogram.org and help us. Let's say that you only have 1 hour a month. Let's say that's all the time that you had. Great. We can set up a financial literacy workshop with a church or a library or a chamber, some sort of host. And you could teach this if you're willing to. You don't have to. It takes about an hour. On average, 85 to 87% of the audience will enroll and participate in the funding package. Now, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but if you will go out and help us educate, you're making $1,250 for each person that you educate using the curriculum, which you'll see more about here. And we'll provide you the PowerPoint and editable documents, so no worries. So let's say that you just taught one class a month. And I think that's kind of what Queen's thinking. So Queen, let's say that one Saturday morning at 10 a.m., you taught once a month. We can work with the host to get that set up so you don't have to get the quote unquote butts in the seats. And let's say that you spend 1 hour educating 20 people. Statistically, we would expect 16 or 17 of them to participate. Let's just say 16 will be conservative. And you're paid $1,250 times 16. I'm not an expert in doing math on top of my head, but that's right about $20,000 for teaching one workshop, 1 hour, once a month. So again, is it get rich quick? No. Is it going to replace the money that you're already making, Queen, doing whatever you do? Probably not. But I mean, it's a good side gig. But more important than that, I would argue you're helping people. Because again, what do you know? Ashley and Bernard and Charles and Denise, and we've got 3 different Erics: Felicia, Harlan, Herman, Jeanette, Jennifer, Jimmy, Kataya, Ken, Pauline, Queen, Korcha, Rosalind, Sally, Terrence, Thomas, and others. What do you all know that the average person doesn't know? You know the formula for funding. You know exactly the steps that any entrepreneur would take to qualify for funding. And so you can go out and help us teach that. And then from that, again, on average, 85 to 87% are going to say, yeah, I want to participate in the grant. We take them through this process. We handle all the implementation. It's not your burden to implement. You're just going out educating. All right, so we got a question then on what can the funds be used for. So we're going after business funding. So business funding usually will fall into one of 3 categories: either to buy real estate, to buy equipment, which cars can count, or working capital, which is everything other than the first 2. So working capital could be paying off prior debt or marketing or payroll or inventory, so forth. So it's business. The question that I'm answering is, what can the funds be used for? Well, it's called business funding. So that's why we set up a business that is fundable to get business funding. Now, depending upon the lender, there's different restrictions. And so, if we say that we want $3 million to go buy an apartment complex, that's very specific. They're going to expect and put a lien against the apartment complex. Let's say instead you wanted $3 million of working capital. Well, that's not tied to a specific asset. So that's general working capital. But we'll work with you on what's called the uses of funds. All right, so today we're doing an express training because it's the end of the month and we're going 100 miles an hour. And those of you who are distribution partners, you're probably crazy busy as well, helping get these small businesses enrolled. So let's do a quick summary. ChapmanLoanProgram.org is the resource site. If you've not been on it, we really encourage you to visit the site. It has information about the grant and specifically the package, what we do, what you and I can do to help anyone qualify for at least $250,000 to start or grow a business. So we got the outline in bullets. You have a written proposal. Click here to view it. You have the press release here. And then this is where people enroll. Down here, we have grant resources. Again, a duplicate link. Here's where someone would enroll. Here's where you go if you want to get financing offers now with no hard inquiries. Here's how to register for our daily live Zoom webinars, like we're doing right now. We've talked several times here to view the full 10-mistake training curriculum. This is very important because if you're a prospective participant, you should watch this to understand the big picture. If you're a current distribution partner, you should watch this and let us know if you want to start teaching. If you're a prospective distribution partner, you should watch this to decide if you want to help teach it. And then we have funding success stories, and then again to get plugged in as a distribution partner. So sorry for being brief today. It's the end of the month, and as you know, the end of every month is just a crazy time for us. We have lots of clients that are enrolling that want to get funded before the end of the year, and today is the last day that people can enroll, and we can guarantee funding before the end of December. So with that, you certainly are welcome to reach out to us individually. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and thank you. Have a great day, and let us know how else we can assist you. Bye-bye.